Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beyond This, the podcast that teaches everything between life, spirit, and all those things in between. Today, we're going to explore the topic that touches every part of our human experience, our ego, and what it means to gently, consciously step out of it. If we haven't met before, my name is Matilda. I am a professional psychic medium based here in Australia. I've been doing what I do for many, many years and absolutely love it. I work as a professional medium, a psychic coach, and advisor. And I am very, very lucky to have built up an amazing community of people open to learning and experiencing the depth of spirituality. Let's start with our topic today. Before we start talking about that, I'm just going to cover a couple of current affairs things that I have seen. As with every episode, my new predictions are at the end of the episode, but I want to talk about what's going on in the Middle East, which is horrific. And it does sort of tie in with today's episode because we all know that the current residing president of the United States is not all there. All right. You can come at me all you want, but that guy has severe and ongoing mental health issues, including dementia, and his ego is out of control. He is pissed. He is pissed about a lot of things. He's trying to distract from low ratings, his birthday parade being an absolute total and utter disaster. And oh my gosh, on that topic, if you listen to last week's episode, you will hear a little part of that episode where I go, does this sound familiar? And I went, my auto editing removed it. Couldn't believe it. So that joke fell flat on its face. So just remember, that's the sound that I wanted to use. But his birthday party fell flat on his face. But the big thing is that everyone's calling him a chicken. And chickens don't follow through. So what did he do? He followed through. This is just proving how much Israel has Trump by his balls. Netanyahu currently is wearing Trump's testicles as earrings. This is all coming out. All right? So many people are pushing for the end of what is happening, end of this regime, end of the systemic problems. It cannot happen overnight. I have likened it to waking up one day and the dinosaurs are all gone. Nobody was prepared. This has to take time. Your brain would not manage if everything changed overnight. Okay? Just hold your horses. We are looking at a 2 to 3 year, even longer, change. It has to be systemic change and it has to be gentle. But this has to happen. The United States and many other countries could not continue to work in the way that they have been working. I have been shown that the walls are crumbling, but it is taking time. It has to take time. There is a reason for that. I know everybody wants it now. But sadly, that cannot happen because you will need to be prepared. Okay? Hold steady. I've warned you that he is likely to be president until towards the end of the year, but he will become undone. This is the start of the undoing. Israel has been running the American political system for many, many years. This is proving it. I always said, people were saying, what about Putin? What about Putin? Yeah, he's a problem, but he's not the one you need to worry about. It will happen, but look after yourselves in the meantime. Do I think it's going to continue? Yes, it will. I think it will continue through July. Bit of a breather in August. There are a lot of things that are going to be a problem, including flights, including airspace being closed, as I warned months ago that we were looking at airspace closure, and retaliatory terrorism activity. And that, yes, does include on American soil. I've already spoken about it being towards the East Coast mainly, and I have seen something to do with Florida or Mar-a-Lago. I don't know whether it's going to be successful or they foil it, but there is definitely Mar-a-Lago is going to be in the news with the security breaches coming up. So, guys, I know it's shite, but hold steady. Okay. When I say that regimes are ending, ideologies are ending, systemic change is coming, it's coming, but it has to happen. And it's coming from inside the house because there are many, many Republicans turning against Trump right now. Watch that play out because I think that there's a lot of shocks to happen, including more whistleblowers. So be gentle with yourselves and please do not expect miracles. Slowly, slowly catch your monkey. Said that right from the start. I want to thank absolutely everyone who took me for a walk last week. I had so much fun reading all the comments on Spotify about where we went for a walk and what we were doing. I have to tell you, it was just the best. Please continue. I know that many of you listen to me whilst you're doing chores around the house, when you're going for a walk, when you're on your way to work. Don't listen with the kids in the car. Don't listen with the kids in the car because Matilda tends to be a bit blue sometimes. But please let me know where we are off for a walk, a bike ride, a run, to the beach, wherever you are taking me around the world. I would love to hear from you because that brought me so much joy. So thank you. I do appreciate it. So let's talk about ego and what ego really means. It's always good to have a little bit of ego. But your ego is your constructed sense of self built up on your past experiences, your fears, your wounds, and your conditioning. It's part of you that often feels very separate, competitive, or in need of validation. It tells you things like, I need to be perfect and to be lovable. I need to be in control because this is where I feel safe. If I look successful, then I matter. While the ego has a role to play, often protecting us when we feel vulnerable, it can also keep us trapped in fear, comparison, and judgment. That's why learning to recognize and soften the ego is so powerful for our personal and spiritual growth. When we live entirely from ego, we live in separation from ourselves, from others, and from our deeper purpose. This can cause feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and insecurity as we chase approval or attempt to control everything. Stepping aside of ego allows you to live more authentically, which I have been saying we need to do in 25 and 26. Experience deeper inner peace. Many people will come to me saying, I feel like I have a bigger purpose. What is the bigger purpose? When they haven't explored their sense of self yet. Trust yourself and your inner journey. Connect more compassionately with others and the world around you. There are various signs that ego may be leading. We see it in the leaders of the world, where they would more often be right than understand those which they serve. And if you are a leader, you are of service, and you should be of service. It is so important to understand that our politicians are there to serve us. This is where we must step in and make them accountable for their actions. When we live entirely from ego, we live in separation, and we don't want to feel this. Signs your ego may be leading are comparing yourself to others and feeling superior or, in fact, inferior. Becoming overly defensive when receiving feedback. We've all done it. Even I've done it. We have become defensive because we're trying to put a point across. Sometimes we just need to step back. Feeling like we must control every outcome, this is huge. This feeling, the need to control the outcome of something, means that our ego is really attached to it. When we make friends or start relationships or start dating, sometimes our ego becomes overcompensating and we want to control the outcome of it. We put it down to anxiety sometimes, and very often it's ego. We want to prove ourselves to people instead of sitting back and allowing people to prove themselves to us. Seeking constant validation and external approval. That's a huge one. That is really, really big. There are many people that will often seek constant approval and validation from others. It is a way that we get many people get our boost. You will hear people that will constantly go over stories of old and where they are always the most important people in that story. They never tell a story where they come off as less than perfect. And that's when the ego is really taking over. Being highly critical or perfectionistic. Perfectionism stops progress. It really will. When you are a perfectionist and you want to start a project, but you want to start it because it's got to be perfect and we've got to do it perfectly. So you spend hours learning and then you never stop and you never start, the project. That's your ego getting in the way. You are so fearful of doing something wrong that your ego stops you doing something right. There's a couple of practices that can help you letting go of ego. But before I go into them, I'm going to talk about what the ways that your ego can impact your personal relationships and parts of your life. There's a couple of clear examples of where ego can cause problems, especially in your everyday life. It can be straining for some relationships when you're constantly needing to be right in an argument or refusing to apologize. This can drive a wedge between you and your loved ones, creating resentment and emotional distance. Ego can also affect your fear of failure and cause you to hold back, avoiding new opportunities because you're scared of looking imperfect. It keeps you stuck and prevents growth due to fear of judgment. People pleasing is always egoic. We think that people pleasing is giving too much of ourselves, and we become trained in that way. And that is true. But always saying yes to others because you want to feel liked and validated is going to cause a problem. It can lead to burnout and losing touch with your own needs and boundaries. People pleasing sometimes becomes enabling of others, and it's a way of controlling the narrative. It also stops others learning and stepping up in their own right. Something that we don't often think about when it comes to people pleasing. We can often constantly compare ourselves to other people, scrolling social media and feeling inadequate because others seem more successful. And it fuels insecurity, jealousy, dissatisfaction with your own life. You notice these trolls on social media making nasty comments, that awful website Tattle. It's all fueled and filled with people who are full of ego. They're unhappy with their own life, so they judge others' people's. Being overly defensive to feedback, getting angry or shutting down when someone gives you constructive criticism, that blocks personal growth and can damage your credibility and relationships. When you are talking to somebody and all you want to do is get your point of view across, yet they become incredibly reactive, it means that they are also trying to control the situation. If you think about it, many people with deep-seated insecurities are those living in ego. Their insecurities cause them to be defensive. It causes them to compare themselves to others. It stops them doing things because they are so full of fear and judgment. They become perfectionists. All of these are ego-based decisions, but they are linked to insecurity. So not everyone with a massive ego is incredibly what we call egoic. Okay. I talked about this when I was talking to John Edward, because I like to credit him for statements that he's made that have really given me insight into something. Because I was always really defensive. I was defensive. I admit it. When people would say that I was full of ego, and I'm like, well, I'm not, because all of my predictions come from spirit. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm more about teaching people, but there's a lot of dumb people on the internet and sometimes you can't teach people. And he said, you actually have to have the equivalent of a shot glass full of ego to do this work. You don't want a full bottle, just a shot glass, because without it, you wouldn't be able to do the work. And I'm like, oh God, that really makes sense. So yeah, it's okay to have a little bit of ego, but not a lot. And that really sort of opened my eyes to that and gave me a new perspective over it. So yeah, very interesting. It's important to understand that a lot of these examples highlights how ego can keep us trapped in fear, pride, or control. Recognizing when ego is driving our reactions is the first step to creating healthier and more authentic connections with not only ourselves, but others too. Family issues can be bogged down with ego as well. It can play such a big role in creating tension and discontent within families. I'm going to give you 5 key ways where ego can cause family issues, along with examples on the impact it can have. So, holding grudges, the need to feel right or justified prevents genuine forgiveness. There are situations, and I will always say this, where forgiveness isn't justified and you can just move on. Resentments build up over years and years, making it impossible to truly move on and be content. Now, this can happen in families and relationships. Refusing to apologize or admit fault. Fear of losing face or looking weak keeps someone from owning their mistakes. It leaves others feeling unheard, undervalued, deepening emotional wounds. And we see a lot of this these days with people choosing to go no contact with their parents because their parents cannot accept that maybe their ego has got in the way of family situations and vice versa. No children are completely blameless. Comparing family members is a massive one. Seeing yourself or siblings as better or more accomplished feeds feelings of competitiveness and jealousy. It creates rivalry and insecurity, especially between siblings, and can fracture close bonds. Needing to have the last word is another way it's going to impact families and situations. Prioritizing winning an argument over being kind or patient. Conversations escalate into fights, making communications tense and stressful. Also, feeling entitled to others' time and energy, expecting family to always put you first without reciprocating or appreciating them, creates feelings of being taken for granted, which can lead to resentment and emotional exhaustion. When ego is unchecked in a family, it erodes empathy, honesty, and trust, making it difficult to support and understand one another. By becoming aware of these ego-driven behaviors, family members can begin to shift toward loving, respectful connections. Now, I'm going to say that there may be families where one person is open to discussing this and the other person is still sitting in ego. You may not be able to help some people, but as long as you are living authentically, as long as you are living in a comfortable situation where you feel as if you are doing the best for you, then you are on the right path. I'm going to do my Patreon shout outs now to all the new members. But before I do that, if you can hear the diabolical weather outside, I hope it's keeping some of you in the Northern Hemisphere cool, because the wind has picked up. It is diabolically loud and windy and raining. We are in the middle of a huge storm. I couldn't record last night because we had a thunderstorm and I didn't know whether it was an earthquake, the wind, or thunder. It was very frightening. I nearly pooed my pants. But I apologize for the noise. I'm going to do my Patreon shout outs now. I want to say a massive thank you to all my new Patreon supporters and old Patreon supporters. If you have been joining us on the chats over the last week, we have had some fun, we have had some laughs, we have experienced all sorts of highs and lows, but it is amazing and an amazing community that we have built up together. It's not one person, it is a joint effort. If you are new to Patreon, don't forget to check out the chats. Lots of conversations going on. I try and pop on there 2 to 3 times a week and we have fun. Don't forget, if you're new to Patreon, we have the coffee morning for the 15 level and up once a month, where you get to ask all sorts of questions. There is early discount. My September readings are up, I think. There is early access to readings. There are discounts to the 2 workshops I've got going on in the next 2 weeks. One of them is all about learning to listen to your guides and pay attention to them and know what the signs, symbols, and all of those sort of things are. The other one is Living the Magnetic Life, about lifting your energy. So those join you on your energy rather than you drop down. All of that is coming up. Massive discounts for those in the Patreon collection. So look out for the discounts. You've only got a couple of days to book the Listening to Your Guides course. If you cannot attend for any reason, time zones, whatever, I will be sending out the recording of it. Or, well, actually, Alicia will be. She will be sending out the recording of it to all the people that have booked and paid, and that will be within a couple of days of the course. But get in now. I cannot tell you how many people go, I'll wait, I'll book, and then on the day of an event, there are hundreds of messages in my Patreon or emails, and I cannot deal with that on the day of an event. So if you haven't booked the day before the event, you will not get access. Okay? Especially with the evidential mediumship groups that are coming up. We have a large evidential mediumship group which is happening. It'll be in the show notes. But our community on Patreon rocks. It is amazing. You will have seen predictions that I make on Patreon. I've given snippets of them after they've happened over on TikTok. especially around this weekend where I predicted the earthquake in Iran and Trump going in early and lying. And he's still lying. He's still lying. Ain't no peace deal happening. So all of that is over there. But yes, I'm giving out Patreon shout-outs, aren't I? I forgot what I was doing for a second. I apologize. I get very distracted sometimes. Okay, so we have Samantha Veal, Deandra, Mary Cowell, Just Nizelle, Hillary, Fabella, Dee, who was joined for 12 months. Welcome, Dee. Robin Donovan, Genevieve, Coco, GK, who was joined for 12 months, Rebecca, Golissa. I'm sorry if I have screwed that up. Welcome, MM, Lindsay Link, SoCal Girl, Naomi, Belle Dis, Carol, Patty, who was joined for 12 months, Barbara Morello, Alicia, Veronica Hanu. We have Amber Ambergis, who was joined for 12 months. Welcome. Katrina, Mina Tazi, Tina, C, Patrick Waltz, Stephanie, Renee Brown, Joshua, Siheni, Joseph, Wendy Graham, who was joined for 12 months. Welcome, Wendy. Chito, Pris, Jen Machado, Tiandra McGee, Alexia Von, Terry Anderson Schlader, Ismail Castaneda, KMKF, Amy, Amanda, who was joined for 12 months, Kelly Hughes, Kirsty Powell, Ashley, Candace Alam, who was joined for 12 months, I think, Dawn, Vermicilia. Let me just go to the next page. It's been very busy. Christina, who's joined for 12 months, Kat, Melanie Dawson, Kelly Nicholson, who was joined for 12 months, PJ, who was joined for 12 months, Nicole, Mags, who was joined for 12 months, and Dee. You guys rock. Without Patreon, there would be no podcast. They continually support this podcast. It means that there are no ads. We don't have to listen to Viagra adverts when we don't want to. They really do support this podcast. Lots going on over there. It is a constant bustle of entertainment and education, love and community. So go to the show notes if you are interested in the, oh, Matilda, put your teeth back in, interested in joining. So we're going to talk about some tips and tricks that you can take on to help your ego and maybe keep it a little bit in check. Practices for getting out of ego is some of these tips are really going to help you, but like everything, we need to make space for your soul's voice. It takes time and it takes practice. If things don't work the first time, like a diet, you get on board the next time. The next day is always a fresh day. Don't be hard on yourself. Know that you are forever evolving. Know that you are forever growing. And as long as you're moving in the right direction, you're doing the right thing by you. Witnessing your thoughts can help. When egoic thoughts arise, pause. Say to yourself, I see you. This simple acknowledgement can shift your awareness and loosen your grip. Cultivate humanity, humility, and gratitude. Practicing humility reminds us that we're part of something larger. Often humility and humanity will go side in side. When you are out and about, when you're having talks with people, interactions with people, when you are talking to friends, family, at work, realize that there's a human being that you're interacting with. Think about how you want to address things. Is your ego getting in your way? Practicing humility reminds us that we're part of something larger, and practicing gratitude for small things, tiny things, opens the heart and raises the energy. It's one of the best things to help raise your vibration. If you can meditate, and now I get asked a lot about meditation and how a lot of people can't meditate, okay? Even if it's for a few minutes of quiet every single day, this can help you tune into your inner wisdom, the part of you that feels whole and calm, the part of you that has more understanding to how you can be reactive or how your insecurities can stand in your way. If you struggle to meditate, I always say do a task. Do something mundane. Fold the washing. Do the dishes. Go for a walk. All of these things can help you zone into a place that is also very good and very close to meditation. Returning to your body. Ego lives in your mind. Bring your attention to your breath or your heartbeat to come into the present moment. Feel your feet. Work your way up your body piece by piece, moment by moment, and acknowledge every single piece of your body. And it brings you into the present moment. Sometimes coming out of ego just takes a second. It takes a second to move back into your body and out of your mind, especially if you are an overthinker and someone that continues to argue with people long after the argument is over. And you go over and over and over in your head. Let it go. That shit is going to bring you down. It's going to impact you more than the person that you're arguing with. You don't always have to be right, but you do have to be there for you. Speak to yourself and others with compassion. Replace again with the teeth, Matilda. I don't have false teeth, by the way, I promise. Replace harsh self-criticism with gentle, supportive self-talk. Imagine you're talking to a dear friend or someone you love, and you should always love yourself. But just bring that tone down. Think about how you speak sometimes when you're really in that egoic moment. And on that note, sometimes we can de-escalate things just by the tone of our voice. It should help. When you practice witnessing your ego and learning and leaning into the tools, you'll gradually hear your soul voice grow stronger. Your soul feels differently. It's kind, intuitive, loving, and wise. It reminds you that you are enough, just as you are. And the more you listen to your soul voice, the less your ego can run the show. So this week, I invite you to notice when ego thoughts show up. Take a breath. Name them for what they are and choose a more soul-centered response. Remember, stepping out of ego is not something you do once. It's a gentle, ongoing practice of coming home to yourself. And on that note, I would like to thank the listener who suggested doing an episode on ego and how to step out of ego. I did not get to catch your name. I apologize. I should have written it down. But thank you very much for suggesting this. It is much needed in this day and age, especially with tensions across the globe running high. And if anybody would like to send this episode to Donald Trump, Netanyahu, Putin, or anyone else you would like, please feel free. We're going to touch on some future predictions after this. Okay, that time of the podcast that many of you people wait for. The first thing I'm going to say is that I do see more strikes, even though they're trying to do a deal. I think that Israel will not keep to it. I actually don't think Iran are going to keep to it. China are going to be in the news as well. Something to do with one of their ships, a boat, being where it shouldn't be, and there could be damage to a boat. I have been seeing a Navy boat sinking for quite some time, and I think that is becoming imminent. I do feel like it could be either China or it could even be this is what worries me, because I have seen a natural disaster. I'm worried that an oil tanker may be struck in error and go down. That I have seen coming in. Weather is going to be on deck. I warned you in my 2025 predictions that heat was going to be horrendous this year in North America and in Europe. That is going to come more on deck in the next week. We're going to hear, very sadly, about a large amount of deaths due to heat. I'm actually going to Europe with this, but it could also be in America. It is the time to check on your vulnerable neighbors, making sure that they are okay. Remember that not everyone has air conditioning. Fires breaking out in Greece, Spain, even the UK. I see some fires. Now, I know that the UK's heat dropped, but that's going to come back in about 2 weeks. And there could be some fires. I'm also being shown that there is a fire in a building of note, a historic building in Europe or the UK is where I'm being drawn with that. I also want to give you some fun stuff. There will be news about a breakthrough in cancer treatment for bowel cancer, or testing for bowel cancer. That's coming in very soon. I feel that there is going to be, this isn't good news for some people, but there's going to be an embarrassing situation with Trump where he's not going to know where he is. He's going to be not undressed like completely, because nobody needs to see that. Please, God, no. I feel like he's in a state of undress, like he's buttoned up wrong. He's wearing mismatched clothes, that sort of thing. News coming out from the Obama camp. No, it is not a divorce. They are tying themselves to a new charity or a new cause. That's going to be coming out very soon. It's quite significant and it's in the news. And Trump is going to have some losses in court. I also stated in some predictions a while ago that there will be disarray or outcry in Congress or the Senate. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's like there's mutiny in Congress or Senate. We're going to see that. It's like punches are going to get thrown, or people are going to get really, really spicy and angry. It's going to be, something that, and I don't think it's just in the US. It could actually be, I was thinking about the UK, but a lot of places are on summer break, so we may have to wait for that. That's about it for now. Hold on to your hats. Oh, some new music coming out from somebody. It's either Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, or somebody connected very closely to those two. It's like people have been waiting for it, and it drops out of nowhere. All right? Okay, that's about it for now. Please remember that you are worth putting the effort and energy into your spiritual journey. Things don't happen overnight. There are no magic wands. If you don't put the energy in for you, then you only have yourself to blame. You are worth all the time it takes. Lots of love, and I will catch you soon. Take care.